Election analyst Wayne Sussman with us. And Wayne, of course, you and Jan Hubert have been crunching the numbers. I just wanted to get your view on what Fikile Mbalula said. I mean, making a lot of concessions in that interview with Shahan, admitting voters are fed up with a lot of things. ESCOM absolutely being thrown under the bus, acknowledging that the ANC is partly responsible for a lot of that. He also, though, says that there was a low voter turnout which affected all the parties, that they only had a one-month period to run their campaign. And he believes that this is a warning shot from the party faithful who said, we're not going to vote at all. We won't put our vote with someone else, but we won't vote for you this time. Do you buy all those reasons? Do you think it is sort of a perfect storm that's happening here for the ANC?
Well, if one remembers, in 2019, the ANC had its worst performance in the national and provincial election. However, I track by-elections very closely, and the ANC had a lot of momentum from November last year to about May this year. But however, in July there was the insurrection. Then we had the ANC's list debacle, where they had to go to the courts to be able to submit their list properly. The posters on the lampposts and the posters on our streets went up much later than the DA, the Freedom Front, Good, or the EFF and the IFP. So they were behind the scene in that regard. However, in the campaign, once Cyril Ramaphosa got going, I think the ANC picked up momentum. But Ramaphosa wasn't able to sustain it, and then in the last week we had this load shedding, and I think that really frustrated a lot of people, and that is why the ANC again, in the second election in a row, sits on their, well actually the third election in a row, sits on their worst performance ever.
Am I right that in the last local election, comparing apples with apples, as Minister Mbalula said we must, the ANC got, was it 53%? Total turnout? 54%, yes.
Okay,
so they are heading, you're projecting this as well, for less than 50, as are other pundits, am I right?
Correct. So I think it's about 46, 47% is what they'll end on. And that's a significant figure. They are below the 50% mark for the first time in any national election or local government election. And this means that the party really has to not just rely on the president. They will need more and more people to be as popular as the president, and they'll need more and more people to have the same level of trust as the president, because otherwise the ANC's slow decline will continue. And that is very, very worrying for that party.
Do you think we're going to see similar declines for the DA?
Well, it's been another tough election for the DA. Let's remember that the best ever performance by an opposition party was in the 2016 local government election, when the DA won 27% of the vote. They go down in the 2019 election, and we spoke about apples. I'm now comparing apples and pears, but they go down again in this election.
Yeah.
And the party, look, the ANC also, we're focusing on the DA, but there are things for the ANC to celebrate today. But let's just speak about the DA. They fell short in Nelson Mandela Bay. It's a municipality, it's a metro where they threw everything at it. They're still the largest party there, but they fell short of there. Yes, they have a victory in Umgeni, the first ever municipality they've won in KwaZulu-Natal. But there's a lot, and look, we still need votes to come in Tshwane, sure. But there's a lot to be concerned with for the DA. A lot of those voters who left them in 2019 haven't come back. More voters have left them. They're more attractive local or regional parties or other breakaways from the DA who have taken some DA voters, and this is a big challenge for the party. However, the one thing I want to say, Sally, is that the ANC and the DA, certainly the ANC, have far more public representatives in Parliament and our provincial legislatures than the other party. So if the parties really take a look at themselves in the mirror, they can know that it's about 2.5, 3 years until the 2024 election. They need to galvanise their members of parliament, galvanise their members of provincial legislature, and say, if we do not turn this around, we're going to continue to be embarrassed at the polls.
Yeah, so a warning indeed. I have to ask, you are making projections. Now, of course, projections are not the same as mathematical modelling, but you bring in a lot of your experience and a lot of the track record to say what you think is going to happen. And this is a big one, because you're about to make a projection coalition for the city of Johannesburg. We know that, of course, in 2016, Johannesburg was a hung metro. Am I correct? It was ANC 44%, DA 38%, EFF 11%. What are you projecting?
Correct. So those are important numbers, what you just said. To remind the viewers, 44% and 38%. And the ANC were desperate to regain control of the most powerful metro in the country, the economic powerhouse of the country. Both it and the Democratic Alliance have fallen well short, and we can now project that the ANC will end up on about 33% of the total vote, well down on that 2016 figure, and equally the Democratic Alliance will end up with about a quarter of the vote, 25%, well down on what they achieved. And why has that happened? It's happened for a variety of reasons, but the biggest reason is the ascent of, well, the re-emergence of Herman Mashaba and the ascent of his party, Action SA, who we project will get about 16% of the vote. So that is a remarkable achievement for Action SA to usurp the EFF as the third largest party in the city of Johannesburg. It's taken votes from the ANC in the townships. It's taken votes away from the DA in the suburbs. And this is a party who has certainly captured the imagination of many voters. We project that the EFF will be very similar to what they achieved last time. They'll end up on about 10%.
That's fascinating, and it just shows you that clearly something Herman Mashaba and his Action SA party are saying is really resonating with voters. And of course we do know that the metros always take the longest time to absolutely finalise, so we might only know for sure by this time tomorrow, but certainly that is quite a dramatic change for the city.
And it means that it's a very complicated coalition.
Yeah.
There are complicated coalitions across the country tonight, but in the city of Johannesburg is one of the most complicated coalitions, and there are going to be many smart heads who are going to have to work out how that one's going to work.
It's interesting because I think it's Action SA and DA both saying they will not work with the ANC. So that we'll see if that changes. We'll see if that changes. I'm sure there's lots of nodding and winking going on currently as the horse trading begins. Wayne Sussman, thank you very much. We'll chat again later.